What's going on, Kayla?
Hey y'all.
Yes. So you just had something very exciting happen. Match day just happened. But before we get into that, give us a little bit of your background and your history into becoming a medical student.
So my journey in medicine kind of first started around high school, like the end of my high school senior year. It's funny because I wanted to be either a pharmacist or a chemist the whole time up until senior year of high school. I ran track for a very long time and I got injured and I had to go see a sports medicine doctor. And then ever since I had that interaction with that doctor, I said, you know what, I think this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so from there, my journey to medicine began. I went to college at Florida State Pre-Med, and now I'm just about to graduate from Howard, doing family medicine. And so the path hasn't been linear at all in no means. So I went to Florida State. I ran. It's funny because when I entered, I was an exercise science major. And then I actually got kicked out of that major and I had to change to chemical sciences, which is lucky that I'm actually good at chemistry and math. So that was a better change for me. And once I had to change it over to that major because I had to drop a couple classes, I actually just started doing better in undergrad, and I had to kind of like make myself become a more competitive applicant for medical school because I was trying to balance like academics and athletics, and it was just a lot going on. And so towards like the last 2 years of my college undergrad time, I really like pushed it out and pretty much made myself a competitive applicant for medical school. And not something that I did all by myself. I had mentors. One of my teammates is also a doctor now. And I went to a couple conferences and I collected mentors from there who helped me write my personal statement, prep me for interviews and everything like that. And after I graduated from Florida State, I actually like worked as a medical scribe in my gap year. And then lo and behold, I applied to medical school and I got into Howard University and I'm about to graduate. I remember Howard was actually the first interview I got. And when I was just like so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ready. And so I kind of was just keeping my mind open the whole application season because mind you, I had some academic struggles, so I wasn't the best overall applicant. So I was lucky to get an interview in the first place. But when I had the interview and I went on the interview, I just remember walking like the halls of Howard, and I'm walking past pictures of Dr. Lascelles Lafall and doctors like Charles Drew, and who are major names in the field of medicine. And I'm like, I'm literally walking the same halls that they did. And I kind of feel like I can contribute or get to be a part of, get this bask in their legacy just by being here at Howard. And so it was kind of the nostalgia of the moment for me that kind of pushed Howard to be number one. So what Match Day is, it's essentially the day you find out where you will be going for your residency training. So the way medicine or the journey to becoming a doctor works is you're pre-med and undergrad, and then you apply for medical school. You take the MCAT, you apply to get into medical school, you go do your 4 years at medical school. Along the way, you have to take step 1, step 2, and step 3 later on. So after you take like your first 2 board exams, somewhere around the beginning of your 3rd year of medical school, you start applying for residencies and interviewing at residencies. And when the interview season comes to an end, you make a rank list of where you would like to go, and you can rank as many programs as you're able to. So if you have 20 interviews, you can rank those 20 programs. Or if you have 20 interviews and you only like 15 of them, then you can rank 15 of them. It's all up to you. But you rank them in order of where you would like to go train at the most to the least. And then on match day, and the programs I should add, so after you make your rank list, the programs also rank you. So, you're not the only one that's interviewing at these places. There are 300 or thousands of other applicants that are applying at these places. And the programs, they also rank you. And if they have 8 spots, then they maybe rank, like 10 or something people to fill those spots. And so what happens on match day is there's this whole algorithm that's crunched, and pretty much wherever your rank list matches up with your program's rank list of interest, that's where you match. So I was blessed enough to get my number one rank, which was University of Virginia, which means they ranked me. And so we're a match. And now I'm going to residency there. And so that's pretty much how match works. It's the one of the biggest days of medical school because it's kind of the day that all of your hard work pays off. All of those long nights of studying pays off. All those board exams that you stressed over, they pay off because you now have secured the bag, pretty much.
I love that. Okay, so just to kind of clarify, make sure I understand. So basically, you kind of rank. So it's based on what school, what programs, like you rank with that. That's what determines where you match to, right?
Pretty much. So you make your rank list and the programs make theirs and the algorithm crunches it up. And it's meant to be in your favor so that the applicants get their number one. And if they don't get their number one, then they get their number two or their number three, something like that. So it's meant to be that way. But I say it's a big day because it's the day that, bag is secured. And then all you got to do from there is graduate and you can go on to be, a resident in your specialty that you're interested in.
Hi, I'm Kezia Asiedu from Meharry Medical College. I recently matched into pediatrics at Baylor, Texas Children's. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
Okay, so real quick, if you can just maybe walk us a little bit through your journey into even becoming a medical student. Like, what were you doing before that?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Ghana in West Africa, and I moved to this country about 10 years ago, and I relocated to Worcester, Massachusetts, and I went to high school there for about 2 years, completed high school, and then I went to during high school I did like a summer program at UMass Medical School because I knew I wanted to become a doctor ever since I was little, so I did a summer program there, and then in college, I went to UMass Amherst in Massachusetts, and they also had like a pathway program to join medical school, which I also enrolled in. It was like a 2-year program. So during my second year, my sophomore year of college, I enrolled in the pathway program, and I ended up getting professional acceptance into the program, and I was supposed to get like um above a 500 in my MCAT and also get at least a 50 percentile in all of the 4 sections. And if I did get that, I was guaranteed an interview and then like um if I did get that, I was gonna be guaranteed like a spot in the medical school. So unfortunately, like the MCAT got above 500, which was good. But on the card section, I got 48 percentile. Everything else was good, but just that one section, I had like a 48 percentile. I was so close, but they wanted me to take a gap year and then take the MCAT again and reapply. And I didn't want to do that. So I just applied to other schools, and Meharry took a chance on me and they accepted me. They gave me an interview. 2 days after my interview, they sent me a letter that they wanted me to come to school there. So yeah, and in college, what I did was I majored in bio and I minored in psychology, and I also got my CNA license to also get some clinical hours under my belt, and also get some clinical experience to make my application look good too as well, and also to make sure that this is actually the path that I wanted to do. And yeah, so I got into Meharry, and I always knew I wanted to do pediatrics ever since I was little. Like that was what I wanted to do. So going to Meharry, it was pretty hard. Medical school is hard in general. So yeah, the last 4 years has been really hard for me. I got involved with SMA. I was able to network with other people that were doing peace as well, and I was able to get mentors in that field. And I also like took upon some leadership roles to also again to make my application look good and to also get more like experience too. So I was able to do that as well. I did a lot of community service. I'm very passionate when it comes to sickle cell disease. So I did a lot of outreach, a lot of community outreach about sickle cell. I did trait testing to increase the awareness of sickle cell traits in the community. So, we could help decrease the prevalence of sickle cell in African Americans. And what else did I do? Yeah, that's a match. I think this year they have 40,000 positions and 42,000 people applied. So unfortunately, about 2,000 people had to go, didn't have jobs, weren't able to match or get any spots, and that's very sad. They'll probably have to wait like a year and then reapply again, like
Yeah.
reapply next year. Yeah.
And what pretty much happens is when you find out you don't match, it's usually like on the Monday of match week. And if you don't match, there is this program that happens. It's called SOAP, stands for Supplemental Offer Something Acceptance Program. And what that is you remember when I mentioned the seats that every program has? If a program at the end of the match if any programs at the end of the match have open seats, then you're able to SOAP into those seats that are open. It's a bit of a scramble shot, but that is how some people who initially go unmatched maybe end up matching. And then anyone that is not able to SOAP or find an open seat in the country, then they have to do it. They have to wait the next year to apply the next match cycle. If you go unmatched, you have to apply all over again. It's not the end of the world. There are people that go unmatched and still go on to get residency spots and become doctors. It's just that, you look forward to using that MD degree and you kind of can't exercise it the way you can. You're a doctor without a job, essentially. But, a lot of people who go unmatched, they will maybe like work somewhere in a hospital, or maybe work into education and just wait till they apply the next year. And they go on to be successful, amazing physicians nonetheless. Social life / work life of a medical student. It took a while to kind of figure it out. As a first year, or an M1 as they call it, our program happens to be a 2+2 program. So the first 2 years where we were just all in the books. And so I'm a bit of a, bookworm, a bit of a nerd. So I did spend a lot of time studying, but everyone has to. I mean, you have to kind of put the time in where you can. And then outside of that, the great thing about being at at Howard, or maybe just at HBCU in general, is that the camaraderie is amazing. So after every test, it was happy hour. After every test, it was let's go out. After a busy week, let's go happy hour. Like we're going somewhere, brunch. We're here in DC. Brunch is a thing. So there's definitely a social life here. At least I had one when I wasn't studying. But then towards the later years, when in medical school, like third year and fourth year, those are your clinical years. And those are the years where you're actually in the hospital seeing patients, not classes as much, but you're learning kind of on the job, and you kind of got to make sure you get all your learning at home because you're going to work. And it's the oddest thing ever, because I would tell people I'm going to work during my third year. Like, I have to work this weekend. Sorry, I can't go. And they're like, oh, you have a job now. I'm like, well, technically, no, I don't get paid, but I am in the hospital and I'm working, but it's a part of school. So that's pretty much what your clinical years are like. It's a little bit less academic and more actually hands-on practicing medicine, developing your craft, while the first 2 years are learning the medicine and learning the science part of it.
Yeah, that's one thing about going to an HBCU. You always have like a group of friends that are always down to have some happy hour or to like celebrate after any big exam. So that's one of the reasons, like, I'm very grateful to be at an HBCU because we're always down for a good time. We're always down to celebrate any kind of milestones we achieve. Yeah. So we do. You have to make time for social life. You have to make time for it because medical school is crazy enough. It's really hard. So if you don't make any time for any fun time, you're gonna burn out very quickly. So you have to make time where you can relax and celebrate with your friends. And yeah, because you're kind of sacrificing your 20s, your 30s, so you have to have some fun. Otherwise, you're about to be an old lady without having any kind of fun at all.
Yeah, I definitely agree because I think my first year medical school, I was too much of a bookworm, and I wish I had spent more time with my classmates. But during my second years and years later, I was like, you know what, Kayla, this is important. I should, go out to this. I don't have to study right now. Like, you just go out, go to the event, go to the birthday party, pick up the phone, stuff like that.
Do what you love. Make sure you're doing this because of you. Because you want to do it, not because your mom, your dad, or someone is forcing you to do it. Because this journey is really hard. And if you're not doing it for yourself, it makes it 100 times harder. So you have to do it for you. I did this for me, and there were some days I wanted to quit. So imagine if I was doing this for someone else, I probably would have quit by now. So my advice would be do it for yourself and make sure that whatever you're doing, you're enjoying it. Like, find some way to enjoy it. Those pre-med classes are hard, but make it your own and make sure that you're actually learning something from it and you're enjoying what you're learning. Yeah. And also I would say mentorship is very important. if you're interested in medical school, try and get mentors as soon as you can. Try and contact somebody who's currently medical school or who's residency, so they could help you, they could guide you in the path to medical school. Yeah, because mentorship is very important.
Yeah, I definitely echo what Kezia said about, make sure you're doing it for you, because the journey is long and hard enough, and the work is hard enough. And I mean, it's about a 12-year journey. Undergrad is 4 years, medical school is 4 years, and then residency is anywhere between 3 to 7 years. And when you're a resident, a lot of people don't, non-medical people don't know, you're not making the attending big bucks. So you're still a doctor in training in residency. So it's a lot of delayed gratification that comes with the journey of medicine. That's not to deter anyone. It's just to make sure it's something that you want to do, and definitely get a mentor. Get someone who will look over your personal statement. Get someone who will critique your resume. Get someone who will tell you, hey, maybe you need in order to get your GPA up, this is what you need to do, or someone that can point you to a tutor if that's what you need. I think that's very important as well, mentorship. And if you need the academic guidance like I did, I had to kind of get myself together in undergrad while applying to med school because my grades weren't there. So it was great to have that type of help that I needed when I needed it. So I think that's something. And then also when you get to medical school, study, but also make sure you spend time with your friends and family. Don't be a bookworm the whole time. Yeah, so there are still milestones that you have to hit in residency. You're working, you're being paid, you're not making the big buck doctor salaries that everyone knows. It's not the 6-figure salaries that everyone, glorifies in doctors, but there are milestones that you have to make. It looks different for each specialty. And the way medicine is set up in general is that if there's another board exam you have to pass, like step 3. If you pass your other ones, you're going to pass the next one. And you have to see a certain number of patients and everything. Getting through residency is usually not anyone's problem once you're in there, but it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of hours too. So that's something that you have to be okay with. Yeah, the only thing I think I have to look forward to coming up is I'm training for a half marathon. So that's the one thing I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to do it for the last few years, but then COVID hit and it got canceled. And then the next one was virtual. And I was like, I don't want to do a virtual run. I want to be out there with the people. So that's the only thing I really have looking forward to. Maybe take a couple trips, vacations, and then we make the big move. And that's pretty much it.